Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the Shabbos show.
Hi.
We were cracking each other up before we got started because you know how movie stars and stuff go, and they do all this stuff before we get started. So Barry was cracking me up, kind of going, ah. But here we are, and we are super excited because it's Pride Month. That's June. Wait a minute. Why is why is Pride Month June anyway?
Oh, well, Debbie, I don't know if you remember this, but it's all about the Stonewall riots. It's a celebration of the recovering or adding some civil rights to the LGBTQ community. Debbie, I don't know if you know this, but back in the 50s and 60s, um, the LGBTQ community had to hide. They weren't accepted everywhere, and where they did go, the police would go and raid the establishments and even arrest the patrons. So back in June of 1969, June 28th exactly, as a matter of fact, they went. It was called the Stonewall Inn, and the Stonewall Inn was in Greenwich Village in New York City. And the police went in like they usually do, and they raided the place. Well, the patrons said no. These folks said, we're not going to take it. We're going to stand our ground and we're going to protest. Word got out. The staff, the patrons, the members of the neighborhood came in and they rioted and they protested for 6 days, demanding civil rights, that they can live and go in peace and like everyone else.
Right.
And so what happened was they got some of their demands, but then 1 year later, there was a lady and she put together a Pride week. And they had the Christopher Street Liberation Day Parade Day that day. And as a result, it's been going on and morphed ever since.
I didn't realize that. So that's how we came to know June for Pride Month.
Or June, every month,
How
every year.
wonderful. Well, I'm so proud to be a part of a congregation, and there's so many of them across the globe that celebrate not only Pride Month, but a specific Shabbos, their Shabbat, dedicated to recognizing LGBTQ community members and our ideals as Jewish people, which is to recognize that there is this a spark of the divine in each and every one of us, which means really almost having to recognize something like this kind of doesn't make sense because each one of us is made in the image of God. So part of me stops and says, why would that be the case? Of course, we're seeing so much in our world, right? With Black Lives Matter. We're lucky to celebrate this June, Pride Month, and it just feels so naturally like everything should always be this way, that we as human beings should be able to recognize the great spark in each and every one of us, but it's not always the case. And so we come together and we keep pushing forward for that representation and for that peacefulness to come. And we push forward, of course, in a peaceful and intelligent way, as we like to do. So we wanted to share some pride stuff with you all. Like I started to say, we are so happy to be a member of a congregation that celebrates. Tonight is Temple Emmanuel's Pride Shabbat. We're so excited. Hold on, you're missing our candles. Okay, there they are. Hi, Brett. Hi, Michael. Hi, Quinny. And so Temple actually had a thing where they had a pride kit. You had to sign up if you wanted one. And of course, we enthusiastically signed up and we got great stuff that was so sweet. So we're ready, with our live stream and we have our hardcover prayer books ready to go. But what did we get from Temple? I'll show you. We got our Pride Challah. We got our Rainbow Challah. And proud to be a Women of Reformed Judaism member because they gave a grant so that these could be made for anyone who wanted them. I want you to see it up close. So this is the Rainbow Challah that we got delivered from Temple right on our doorstep yesterday. It was so exciting. And I, of course, had plans to make one for us. And so Did I get all the dye off my hands? Mostly. It's still there a little bit, but I did work with it today, and I want to show you. Mine's rising. It's not finished yet. And you see our little flags and our gorgeous flowers. It's so wonderful that on top of everything else, Pride happens to be gorgeous. I mean, everything is like so uplifting and exciting and pretty, and just reminds us that the variety of people in the whole wide world, the diversity, is a beautiful thing to look at. So hold on, I'm getting my challah to show you.
Well, you're getting the challah, Debbie. I don't know if everyone knows, but this is Bahala Torah portion. And part of this portion is about how much the Israelites are sick and tired of manna, of heavenly bread, and they want meat, and they end up getting so much geese and so much meat they get sick of it and say, please Moses, can we have just a challah back? So here we are, we're talking challahs again.
Here we are talking challahs. So I haven't baked it yet, so it's finishing rising. I bet you I need 45 more minutes. Mine always takes a long time to rise. And it doesn't look like the temple one. It's a little different. Will you hold this?
Oh, let me help.
It's been sitting there just all nice and warm, but I want to show you. Mine's kind of more streaked. And initially, my good friend Carrie Latcher said yesterday, don't forget to use gloves because you're going to get that dye all over your hands. And I bet you I've washed my hands like, I don't know, 10 times already. 10 times more than the usual COVID number of times that you wash your hands. But isn't that going to be gorgeous? Hold on, I have to put it back under. It's warmer.
Looks like Dog Day afternoon, her hands, I swear.
Okay. So this is rising. And then I have another one too, because I wanted to try a different way. But so my good friend Carrie Latcher said yesterday, don't forget to wear, some rubber gloves. And I started that way, but I realized that I really couldn't feel the challah quite right. And I thought, even if I get a little messed up, I'm still going to go for it because I just needed to feel it. There's my friend Todd from Chicago. We miss you so much. Anyway, so on to this. I want to show you a couple things. Guess what else we got from Temple? This fabulous bracelet, these 2 candles, grape juice, Happy Pride Shabbat, and a Hebrew prayer, which is applicable to every single one of us, every single day of the year, no matter what. And I know a lot of you know that I have started to read Hebrew and I practice. And so this takes a lot of courage for me because I'm not a quick Hebrew reader yet. I'm working on it, but I want to say this prayer so much. So this is the prayer. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me in the image of God. And I want us to all just take that in for a moment. Who has made me and you in the image of God. And it tears you up, doesn't it? Can't imagine any one of us walking the planet not made in the image of God, for after all, we are all here. So I'm happy to celebrate Pride Month with you on this day. What else you got, Barry?
Well, I think one of the purposes of Pride Month is to celebrate the history, the impact, and the progress made for the LGBTQ community.
It's a mouthful.
It's hard for me. Hope it's easier for you. But I think it's funny that we have to celebrate this, but we should. And it's insightful. So we learn so much new stuff. And what a pleasure that we are here today and just to hang out, and we can do anything we want to do.
Okay, makes sense. I have found a prayer in the prayer book that I want to share with you. Of course, I'm often working in the Mishkan Tefillah. This is the book that we're going to use when we're streaming in services tonight. And I'm so used to holding it. And I love everything about it from a tactile perspective, from the delicious words that my eyes get to take in. But things have shifted. No surprise to any of us here, right? And so there's this one prayer that I want to read, and this is about us being away from the geography of our places of worship. which I'm okay to be away from my place of worship. And I think we both agree on this for as long as it takes until we can enter in there in a way that assures us all of our good health. Nothing would be worth any kind of a religious worship service if we walk away and we're taken ill. That's not. It's exactly in opposition to what we're trying to do as thoughtful religious people. Many in all religions. But I do want to read you this one prayer that feels strange to say right now because you'd be sitting in your congregation reading it. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness, pride, envy, and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, or harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. And I want to stop here because it is apparent that we are not going to enter into the doorway of our congregations this evening. That's not what's going to happen. So I've really been looking at these words, the door, in the prayer right before this. It says, within these walls we sit surrounded by numberless generations. There's all these words: walls, thresholds, doors, congregation, sanctuary. Congregation is certainly applicable, and we certainly have a sanctuary in our heart. But the physicality of what we used to have, the geography of what we used to have, is not what's going to happen tonight. And so I've been saying something like this to myself: may this home be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. And what this quarantine has given us an opportunity to do is take in these four walls of shelter, whatever they are, and turn them into your place of worship. See a lot of my yogi friends here. Even some of my favorite yoga teachers are tuning in. These homes have become our yoga studios. They've become the place where we sleep, the place where we office, the place where we socialize, meet each other. They're your favorite Italian restaurant. May this house be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. In some ways, I'm glad that we've had an opportunity to really ask this of our homes and ask this of our heart. I was thinking about that today.
Debbie, it goes back to the first century with Rabbi Ben Zakkai. He started his own little place and it switched to become the rabbinical era. And here we are. We're actually acting as a teacher in our own home. I've enjoyed it with you. Thank you.
Too. Who would have ever expected that, we gather at this time together to, well, you know what I think we're really doing? I think we're really transitioning together. All of us who tuned in together, I think we're transitioning to letting the rest of the week go and let this be almost like the sidewalk we walk until the sun sets and we're in Shabbat. It's not so easy sometimes, particularly in our homes, to turn on that device, that television, that computer, and be ready to worship like this. It's hard to change gears. Do you find that?
It is not impossible, but it sure is difficult.
And I would say that this really sends us on our way. This really begins to prepare us for a little time and space, and definitely space away from creating and solving and just taking time to take things in. And this Shabbat will be especially lovely and wonderful because we get to celebrate the diversity of the family we live in within the whole world. And congratulations to the LGBTQ community for allowing us to celebrate with you in such a lovely way and letting us feel a part of it, and getting ready to celebrate you and celebrate us for celebrating you. I'm looking at you, watching me, watching you, watching me.
And I see you. We'd still be remiss if we didn't mention about all the people that actually are suffering right now. And once again, we are giving a check, and maybe if you'd like to join us, to North Texas Food Bank or any other food bank that you find that it would be good for you.
Those lines were really long.
Terrible.
Liz was telling us about that, wasn't she?
Yes, they served the Jewish JFS, Jewish
Family
Services, served 500 families yesterday, and so we're helping out in our own tiny way. But if we save one life, we'll save everyone. Debbie, thank you.
Just want to wish everyone a lovely, peaceful rest. Shabbat Shalom. May everyone have some of this, some of the way these colors and objects make us feel delighted and happy and celebratory. May a little bit of these beautiful rainbow colors enter your heart tonight and give us a peaceful, wonderful Pride Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Debbie.
Shabbat Shalom. See you next week.